And also joining us right now, very pleased to say, we have Stephen Morris, drummer with Joy Division and drummer with New Order. Good evening, Stephen.
Hello there, Dave. You all right?
Yeah, thank you very much for coming into XFM.
It's a pleasure.
Obviously, I mean, Tony made such a huge difference to a lot of people's lives and, music. And helping Joy Division, obviously, was one of his great contributions to music. What was it like being in the band, and what kind of difference did Tony's involvement make?
Well, wouldn't have been able to put out any records without him. He was, he's fantastic, absolutely fantastic. He really believed in us, and he took it in good grace when Ian collared him and basically, I think, threatened him with immediate death if he didn't do something about our, lack of exposure on the television. And maybe he got our single and he put it on, and the rest is history, as they say.
So obviously putting you on Granada that time after Ian had buttonholed him was like the start of your relationship with Tony.
It was the start of everything, really. That when I think about it, because that was at Rafters, and Rob was DJing at Rafters, and it was after that when Rob he buttonholed Bernard and said, "I'm going to be your manager," and so much to answer for from that little cellar.
And obviously, Rob, your manager, and who he sadly died in 1999, didn't he, Rob? His relationship with Tony was sometimes difficult, but out of that, a lot happened, didn't it?
Yeah. Difficult. I don't know. A very northern relationship they had. The whole thing about being northern and self-deprecating was, they could be a bit of a double. Oh, Wilson, and Tony just called Rob Gretton in return, and it went on, and I don't know. I think it finally reached its peak when they did the Hacienda, because they could never figure out whose idea it was to do it, and they were forever blaming each other.
And obviously, you also had a difficult relationship with your producer, the late and legendary Martin Hannett.
Blimey. Mortality, eh? Yeah. But the thing is, you have difficult relationships with people because they've got ideas that are different. And Martin's ideas were a lot different to how we thought we should sound. But the thing about everybody at Factories, they believed in their ideas and they forced them through whether we liked it or not. And they were all right at the end. I'll tip me up to Martin and say, "Okay, you were right." We'd sit at the back of the studio, haranguing him and say, "Can you turn a guitar up, Martin?" And he's like, "Musicians, can you not get them out of the studio?"
And no doubt you wanted a drum machine rather than a drummer in the band.
No, Martin did have good taste in that department. We eventually did get a drum machine, but we couldn't afford one. And we started off, so he just used to bully me into doing ridiculous things.
I mean, when Ian sadly died, and what obviously affected everybody, and affected you and Tony and everyone. How supportive was Tony in the reincarnated band and New Order?
Tony was very supportive. Yeah, it was just I can remember kind of after Ian's funeral, and we went back to Palatine Road, and he put on the great rock and roll swindle on video. We got, "Just watch this," and we watched that, and he said, "Oh, come on, you're right. What are you going to do? What are you going to do?" And then we just looked at each other and said, "It's rehearsing on Wednesday, or should we leave it a week or something?" And we just carried on. But so he was like, whatever we wanted to do was fine.
And there were no questions asked?
No.
And in obviously Tony was a great ambassador for Manchester, great ambassador for all your work. What's the special memory that you will always have of your relationship with Tony?
Oh, there's too many. This past week, they just keep coming thick and fast. And the one I had today was when we embarked, or was it embarked? When we recorded Technique, and we spent months and months in the studio in Ibiza doing absolutely nothing but having a great time doing it. And Tony just saying, "You realise this is the most expensive holiday you'll ever have." Well, we're working, Tony. Yeah. No, we saw right through that one.
And there's been talk about, a kind of a long-term tribute to Tony. And, I wondered, it might not be the right moment to say, but I wondered, if there was a possibility maybe of, a new order gig. I know that, there's been all these various difficulties in the band recently, but I don't know if that's something that might be possible.
I think there's one thing that you could say that you could learn from Tony is that anything's possible. If you want to do it, you can do it.
Okay, Stephen, it's been brilliant having you in the studio.
It's been a pleasure, thanks.
Thank you very much. This is Transmission by Joy Division on XFM Manchester.